Chapter 6 In Memoriam. The one and only light that Badger could discern in the dark tunnel into which he had been plunged by Toad's abduction of the flying machine and Rat, and his wild ascent into the heavens, was that Rat might still be alive. Whether or not Toad was alive seemed to matter not one whit to the Badger now. If Toad was alive and well, and it would not surprise Badger one bit if he were, then he, Badger, would personally make sure that the wretched animal was never allowed to darken the portals of Toad Hall again, or sully the banks of the river.
He shall be banished. He shall be persona non grata. He shall...
Thus the Badger had fumed for a very long time. But far more important was the possibility that the tiny dark object that he and several others had seen falling from the flying machine over the wild wood, whose rapid downward descent had been arrested by the opening of a parachute, after what had seemed a period of several lifetimes to those watching it, might be the water rat.
It must be Water Rat,
declared the Badger, as that distant black object drifted beyond the wild wood and then out of sight.
As for that animal, that disgrace to us all, that Toad,
he growled, watching as the flying machine disappeared into the opposite direction, its engine restarting and purring high in the sky once more.
Beware the wrath of Badger!
But the Badger was not the only one who had watched Toad's flight in mounting alarm and dismay, for the Otter had also witnessed events. He had seen and heard the first flight, just as the others had, and as his searches for Mole had thus far been in vain, he had come to much the same conclusion as the Badger and the Rat, and headed for Toad Hall. His passage there across the fields was much slower, however, and he still had some distance to go when he saw the flying machine careering towards him, and spotted Toad himself at the helm, deduced in a trice all that had happened. Then, watching open-mouthed, he followed the fatal flight and observed that same black dot falling through the sky, and the machine's revival into life in midair before its disappearance eastwards. Full of wonder and dismay, the Otter wearily made his way to Toad Hall, where he joined the Badger and Mole's nephew. Together they reorganized the search, one party under the Otter's leadership to continue the hunt for the Mole, the other led by the Badger himself to see if they could find the Rat and discover whether, as seemed likely, he needed help. The Badger's mood was bleak as he pressed on through the wilderness of the southwest reaches of the wild wood, beyond which Rat, as they hoped it would prove to be, had been seen to disappear. In the space of half a day, the Badger had been torn from the comfort and security of his home, and then proceeded to lose his closest friends in Mole and Rat, and Toad was gone as well.
Toad!
Fulminated the Badger again as he crashed on through the undergrowth, thrusting aside a huge raft of unkept bramble, with the terrified weasels and stoats in his wake.
And Toad again, he growled,
kicking a rotting log out of the way.
Toad one more time,
he snarled, tearing aside a holly bush, and marching on, as behind him his helpers muttered,
That terrible Toad, and most shocking Toad, and very insufferable Toad.
The Badger heard all this, and it did not improve his temper at all, for he could detect in their terribles and their shockings, and most definitely in their insufferables, a vein that ran counter to what they seemed to mean. A vein, in short, of respect, admiration, and downright awe for a creature whose rebellious and radical spirit they had long since concluded was gone forever, but which they had now seen resurrected, phoenix-like, with the terrible flight of the flying machine. To add still more to the Badger's ill humor and the ferocity with which he attacked any obstacle in his way, as he sought out the Rat, was the reluctant acceptance that in his heart there was a morsel, perhaps only a mite, of liking and respect for Toad. Without Toad, after all, what would he and his more reasonable and sober friends have had to talk about all these years, and vent their occasional irritation on? Without Toad, there would indeed have been a lot less color about the place, as that most worthy and reasonable of animals, the Mole himself, had quietly said on more than one occasion. Now it seemed Toad was gone forever, for if he was not, and it was Toad they were now searching for, and not the rat, then Toad might as well be gone forever, as far as the badger was concerned, which left a little sadness in the badger's heart, for terrible, shocking, and insufferable as Toad indubitably was, he meant no harm by what he did. It was not all his fault, for what hope could there be for an animal as irredeemably self-centered as he was?
That Toad, declared the badger, thrusting his way through the last swaths of undergrowth of the wildwood,
and emerging into the daylight that illuminated the frosty plowed fields before him, and the canal beyond.
That inconvenient Toad.
But even in that moment, all thoughts of Toad were banished, and all fears and dreads, not just for the rat, but for life itself. For there, wrapped about the base of an old gnarled oak that formed part of the distant boundary of the fields, and not far from the canal itself, were the billowing white folds of a parachute, and standing on the canal's edge was the water rat, plain as could be, and alive. It seemed that the water rat was too far off to hear the badger's happy call immediately, for he did not respond to it, but stood stock still, staring off across the canal, as if he had seen something there from which he could not tear his eyes, not even to turn and greet his rescuers.
My dear fellow,
cried the badger, coming up to him at last, and beginning to think Rat had turned deaf, for he had not responded to their joyful cries.
It is I, and some helpers, and we have been searching for you. I cannot say how glad I am to see you safe and in one piece. Water rat, dear chap, it is Badger.
Only then did the rat turn to look at his friend and at the weasels and stoats accompanying him, but he stared at them so vaguely, from so strange a distance, that they all stumbled to a halt, and the badger said,
Dear fellow, you don't seem yourself at all.
Badger, said the rat, shaking his head, you have come then?
Of course I have come, cried the badger. When I saw what happened in your passage through the air and its arrest to a safer speed by means of that newfangled thing over there, that
parachute, said the rat quietly, a wonderful invention.
Yes, well, the parachute, went on the badger. I naturally hoped it was you, and so we came as soon as we could. Not at all sure what we would find. You seem a little shaken, I must say.
And perhaps I am shaken, said the rat quietly, very shaken.
It can be no pleasant thing to be hurled out of a flying machine so high above the ground, said the badger.
I didn't notice that at all, said the rat, and falling through the air was not unlike swimming through water, which, as you know, Badger, I am well equipped to do.
Well then, all is well, said the puzzled badger.
I saw beyond, said the rat very quietly.
Now we had better get back, said the badger, ignoring him. I fear Mole has not yet been found, and Toad.
I saw Toad? He was safe enough, said the rat. Badger, you just don't seem to understand. I saw beyond. But again the badger did not hear the plea, or the wonder, or even the loss in his voice, but interrupted him busily, saying,
Now it would be better if we did not rest here, but back at my home, to where, by the time we return, I am sure Otter will have sent a report. Is that all right, Rat? Will you come along now?
Come along, repeated the rat, looking back across the canal in a distracted way once more. Come with you now? Yes, I suppose I shall. Has Mole not been found, then? He said this with what seemed almost indifference, at which the badger, much perplexed, said with some asperity,
No, he isn't found, Rat. He is very much unfound. He is lost and gone.
But the river flows on, I dare say, observed the rat moodily, at which the badger finally decided that the poor animal was worse affected by the accident that had befallen him than he had at first thought, and the best thing was to abandon conversation and get him back somewhere familiar, safe and warm, without more ado.
You ought to come to my home, Rat, said the badger, gently but firmly, and there you will be fed and looked after till you fully recover, which may take weeks, months even. You must sleep and take things very easily, and—
Badger, said the rat, trying to interrupt him.
Now, old chap, it's really best if you don't try to talk or even think.
But Badger—
Because, continued the badger overbearingly, you are not quite well, you see. But, so now we will set off and discuss things later.
Yes, Badger, said the water rat meekly, for he had given up trying to talk sensibly to his normally sensible friend. For now, he muttered to himself, as he obligingly settled in behind Badger on the long journey home. The Badger was now quite convinced that the rat was unstable, or at least in a bad state of shock, that the mole was lost for good, and that Toad was unlikely to return. Accordingly, he began to behave in what he no doubt felt was a firm and resolute manner. Decisions must be made, orders given, and although nothing would now ever be the same, at least things could be returned to some order and stability if a purposeful course were followed. This became his dominant and overriding principle, and it rode roughshod over all else, and appeared quite out of character for the animal all riverbankers had always thought to be the wisest and kindest and the most trustworthy they knew.
Otter, declared the Badger after a week of brooding.
A week? During which the rat showed no signs of recovery, but persisted in speaking of having seen beyond and the wonders that were there.
We shall have a memorial service for Mole the day after tomorrow.
You really think that's for the best, Badger? Said the otter doubtfully. Isn't it perhaps a little forward? I mean, Mole could still be alive for all we know.
Could be, snapped the Badger. We must be realistic and face the facts. He has gone from us. He is no more. He may very well be better off for it, for all I know. Meanwhile, we are left behind and must recognize that if Rat is not to go completely out of his mind, and I have seen similar cases to his, where the delusions increase till irreversible dementia sets in, we must gather together and say goodbye to Mole in a fitting manner. This may settle Rat back into reality.
But,
oh, not you as well, Otter, cried the Badger in a voice of such irritation that the Otter almost backed away in surprise. The truth
was that the otter was beginning to think that he was the only normal animal left along the river, now that Toad and Mole had disappeared, or whatever they had done, and poor old Rat could only mutter about beyond. And now the Badger had become quite impossible to talk to, and determined to do anything rather than do nothing, when nothing, thought Otter, might very well be the most sensible thing to do.
We'll hold the service tomorrow at dusk, said the Badger. We shall gather and celebrate the memory of Mole at the spot where he gave up his life, that others might live.
Yes, concurred the Otter in a low voice.
Don't forget to tell Portly. We must look our best. I shall instruct the weasels and the stoats in how to comport themselves.
They need to be there too, do they? Said the Otter. Mole was not specially fond of them, nor they of him. They only helped with the search because you offered them the prospect of high tea.
Tea at a time like this? Oh, wretched animals that they are, responded the Badger passionately. No, they do not deserve to be there. Let them skulk in the wildwood. The rabbits can come instead. They will swell the numbers. Now, I must consider all that needs to be done.
Yes, Badger, said the Otter once more, catching a sudden glimpse of the rat who was peering round the guest bedroom door, for he had been confined to bed and told to rest and sleep. As the Badger hurried off busily to make his plans, the Otter sidled over to rattle. The Otter sidled over to the rat and said, I wish you'd come back to us, Rat, and be normal once more. Badger's gone off his head. I mean, do you really think moles are gone for good?
Mole's no more passed away than you have, Otter, said the rat softly. At least I don't think so. Why, without Mole, nothing would be the same, would it? Nothing at all. But it is the same, isn't it? It's just that he's not here.
But Otter... Yes, Ratty, said Otter gently, for his friend sounded a little frail. Did you look really hard for him? Right up past Toad Hall and right down to the weir and over its dreadful edge, said the Otter. And there it was neither sight nor sound of him. Not a thing. We called and called in case he was trapped, but nothing. And I myself, without Badger's knowing, made the stoats and weasels help me with one last search, but it was no good. He was alive, said the rat, his voice dropping to a whisper, as it sounded as if the Badger was coming back. For the river told me so. I do not feel. I do not think. No, Otter, I'm sure he's all right, and this is just a dreadful dream. But we had better go through with Badger's plan, if only for his sake. He's the only one who needs to say goodbye. There was a sudden twinkle in the rat's eye, brief but comforting to the Otter, for it suggested that, shaken though the rat was, he was on the road to recovery, rather than heading for dementia, as the Badger seemed to think.
Tomorrow it is, then, said the Badger, returning. At dusk. Assemble. Oh. Assemble Portly. Assemble the rats. Assemble Mole's nephew, and let us say goodbye to our good friend Mole in a splendid and fitting manner, with due decorum. Yes, Badger, said the Otter, before sliding away back down to the river, thinking that he would get a few helpers together and have one last final look, and then, if that did not produce anything, he supposed he could say goodbye to Mole, feeling he had done all he could. Okay. The night passed, dawn came, the morning was bright and cold, then as the afternoon wore on a strange, discolored... wow. Then, as the afternoon wore on, a strange discolored sky appeared, which portended the return of snow. The same sky that Mole had also seen, and which made him think that perhaps he ought to venture onto the water and try to return home, and it cast its pall all along the river. The animals assembled at the very tree where the Mole had written his generous last will and testament, and the Badger, looking very serious and wearing a black armband, led the Water Rat, the Otter, Portly, and Mole's nephew through the throng of rabbits who had long since gathered, more out of curiosity than anything else. There was a certain solemnity about the scene, despite the fact that at least two of those present, Rat and Mole's nephew, were utterly unconvinced that the Mole had passed away. Nothing felt as if he had, nothing at all. Rather the contrary, in fact. Yet now they had gathered in the late afternoon with the river flowing heavily and mournfully by, and the threatening sky finally swirling and changing as the first snow began to fall. My friends, said the Badger, we are gathered here today to celebrate the memory of one who... As the Badger spoke, even those who had had doubts, even the Rat himself, began to think that Mole had indeed gone from them, and would not walk their way again. Indeed, the more the Badger's voice intoned on the sadness of passing and the bleak comfort of memory, and the darker and more cold and snowy it got, with flakes of snow swirling about them, and adhering to their heads and coats, and to the trees about, the sadder and more mournful the group became. The rabbits, always much affected by such things, were beset by sniffles and tears. Mole's nephew stood even more somber, even more still, while the Rat seemed to age with each new rolling, funeral phrase the Badger uttered, his voice deepening and sometimes shaking a little to portray the depth of his emotions. But it was poor Portly who was affected most of all. Mole's nephew had had to support him all the way from Mole End, from where the party had set out. He felt, not without reason, that it had all been his fault, and began by sobbing to himself, at first quietly and with decorum. As the Badger droned on, however, and the snow fell, Portly grew wilder in his distress, crying out, "Oh, it was all my fault, all mine, and I shall never forgive myself, and how can I live after this?" Which did not improve the Badger's temper or composure one bit, for he was forced to stop in mid-sentence and order Otter to quieten Portly down a little, which he did with soft words and persuasion, and by telling him to sit down on the tree roots and watch the proceedings from there. "Also, I'm hungry," said Portly in a whisper loud enough for others to hear. "Maybe I should go back to Mole End and leave you to it." "Shh," said the Badger sternly, "wretched animal. You will stay and mourn and show respect for this great and much-loved Mole who—" Badger was off again, and with each word he spoke Mole, ordinary Mole, humble and familiar Mole, was elevated inexorably into great and noble Mole, certainly the greatest and noblest Mole they were likely ever to meet, whose like would never... As the Badger went on, Portly, sitting down out of the breeze, and so more comfortable, began to feel himself grow drowsy. It was, of course, a pity about Mole, but, well, there was Mole's nephew to fill his place, and perhaps it had been Mole's own fault for going out onto the ice. "Yes," Portly told himself comfortingly, as his eyes began to close. "If Mole hadn't been foolish and... His sleepy gaze went past the somber, upright forms of the Badger and the others to the gray flow of the river. "And I think it was definitely his fault."
Even as Portly said these uncharitable words to himself and eased into a position in which he hoped none would see his eyes close, he saw, or thought he saw through the falling snow, something strange upon the river, something that moved slowly and smoothly, something pale and odd. He leaned forward, peered, and woke up with a sudden jolt. "It looks like it is coming!" These were not words that Portly was actually able to speak out loud as he struggled to make sense of the dreadful apparition that had undoubtedly come into view on the river a little way downstream, and was making its slow way up it. These were the mute appeals of an animal who had quite lost his voice. He half rose as that apparition, all white and unearthly, became clearer, and even as he watched, turned across the great river and came towards him. "Badger!" Portly tried to call, though no sound came out. "Rat!" Then finally he turned to Otter and looked at him, mouthing silent words of terror and anguish, his eyes nearly popping from his head in alarm as he raised his right hand and pointed at the thing that came over nearer. It was Mole's spirit that came, for it had the shape of Mole. Of that there was no doubt, and it... "Sit down, Portly, and stop being such a nuisance," said the Otter, placing a firm paw on his miscreant son's shoulder. "But..." He saw that Mole's spirit rode in an ancient craft, also pale and ghostly, and this now carried him, to the bank, and in full view of the others. If only they would turn around, but they did not, and would not hear Portly's silent cries of warning, or understand his wild gesticulations, which grew ever more desperate as the form approached. It was undoubtedly in the shape of Mole, but ghastly white and slow-moving. "Look out!" cried Portly, finding his voice at last. "It's Mole returned to punish me!" "Shh!" hissed the Badger and the Otter together. "Not long now," said the Rat, patting him in a friendly way. "Nobody's blaming you, Portly," said Mole's nephew kindly. "But," whispered Portly, for the thing, having tied up the ghostly boat with a ghostly painter, was turning now towards them and beginning to ascend the bank. It was then that the rabbits saw it too, and with one accord turned tail and were off into the night, which made the Otter look towards where his son was pointing, in time to see for himself the ghostly shape of Mole. His ascent completed, standing there, staring at them without a word. "Badger?" growled the Otter, for though he was a sturdy creature and not easily frightened, this was very much beyond his experience. "Silence!" cried the Badger, who had reached the climax of the memorial service. "For we are nearly done. We must pay homage in silence to one who..." Otter reached out to Rat, and he to Mole's nephew, and pointed wordlessly at where the apparition stood. Then all the animals but the Badger himself, who would not be stopped, backed away as the ghastly form began its determined advance towards them. "Badger, I really think you had better come with us," said the Rat quietly, the only one among them who seemed to have retained some presence of mind. "You had better come now." "Now?" cried the Badger. "Not now." "Now might well be better than later," said the Rat, backing away with the others. Then panic overtook them all. Just as a whirlwind among trees sets first one and then others falling, fear set Portly, Otter, Rat, and all but Badger scampering away behind the great tree on which Mole's will and testament had been written, and to which he had now returned in spirit form, no doubt in judgment of them all. "Better get clear, Badger, it's nearly upon you," cried the Rat from his place of vantage. "Unworthy animals," cried the Badger after them, shaking his fist. "Does a little snow cause you to run and hide? What could be nearly upon me, as you put it, but grief and sorrow and heavy thoughts of..." He was about to launch off yet again when some sense must have told him that there was really something creeping up behind him. He turned and saw, and stared, open-mouthed. For there it stood staring up at the Badger, pale and awesome in the twilight, Mole's spirit, no doubt about it at all. "Badger!" it whispered terribly with a strange, chattering voice. "Badger, I am alive!" The Badger's response was extraordinary and unforgettable, perhaps aided and abetted by the many irritations he had suffered in the past days. He stared, he wondered, he thought, and he was not afraid. Raising his great paw most impressively, he cried out,
"Whatever you are, whatever you want, go back whence you came. Leave us in peace. Leave us, I say."
"But, Badger," it whispered.
"No buts, no ifs," thundered the Badger. "Wherever you came from you shall return to, and we shall lay thy restless soul in peace. This is hallowed ground now, and thou shalt not sully it."
Then the Badger advanced upon the mole, utterly unafraid, astonishing in his courage, and as the others watched in awe from where they half hid themselves, the ghost began to retreat back down the bank, up which it had came, protesting as it went.
"Yes, spirit," cried Badger, undaunted by its plaints. "Leave us in peace to mourn the loss of Mole."
"I am Mole," said the thing, very irritably indeed, finally standing its ground. "And I'm cold and hungry, and I—"
"Oh, lost creature, do not—"
While the others shivered and stared in alarm, dawning recognition came at last to the rat, and hope as well. He climbed over the roots and came to the Badger's side.
"Why, I think it may be Mole," he said, peering through the gloom.
"Of course I'm Mole. Who else would I be?" said Mole.
"But you're pale and white."
"Oh, yes, that," said the Mole. "Snow and ice upon my coat and in my eyes as well."
"But, Mole, how did you—"
"By boat," said the Mole shortly. "How else would I come upstream from the island? Swim? Really, you are all being very exasperating. What are you doing here, anyway?"
"By boat,"
whispered the rat, beginning to make sense of things. "And from the island. You were there all this time. And my boat." Yes, Ratty, but must we talk about it here? You are all, if I may say so, behaving most strangely."
"You are Mole,"
cried the water rat with sudden conviction, pushing past the bemused Badger and grasping his friend in a warm and delighted embrace. Then all the others came forward to peer at the thing that was Mole, and helped him scrape the snow and ice from his fur before they led him away from the river and towards his own home, to warmth and rest and food, while behind them, muttering as darkly as ever, came the Badger.
"Toad," he was saying, "that Toad. He's mixed up with this in some way, bound to be, certain to be."
Then the Badger stopped and cried up towards the snowy night sky so loudly that the others turned and stared.
"If you're up there, you reprehensible and dreadful Toad, you had better never come down, for I, Badger, have a great deal to say to you."
"Badger doesn't seem quite himself," said Mole quietly.
"He isn't," said the water rat matter-of-factly. "Hasn't been for days. And nor will Toad be if he ever dares return."
The end. Thanks for listening. That was a good chapter. I've been waiting for Mole to get back. Everybody was like losing their minds. That was good. Now now Toad's gone. That was a good one. What are you guys talking about? Oh, you guys are saying a lot. Hold on. Howdy. Tyler. Oh, that's nice. What's good? What's good? Oh, we got a subscriber. So good at voices. Thank you. I love getting into the voices. Oh, the next book we read is going to be hard for me to do voices, I think. Hello. Oh, I used to live in Istanbul. I don't know if you're still here, but nice to meet you. That's crazy. I totally lived there for 2 years. Istanbul, Turkey. Say goodnight. I'm doing good. How long have you been building that ship? I feel like it's been a while. A little bit. Hopefully it goes by fast. I felt that. Oh, that sucks. I feel that with my AC, but also just getting up early. Where's to install? I know. be nice. No, I don't know. Ghost? Toad. Toad's ridiculous. I honestly don't really have, like, any sympathy for Toad, personally, but he, like, really, like, can't help himself. I don't know. I don't know what's about to happen with Toad. Yeah, like, what? There's not really any, like, problem that he could, like, help with to, like, redeem himself right now. But we still have... We're only, like, halfway through the book. So we still have, like, a half a book worth of adventures to go through. So that's probably enough time for him to... For something to happen, for him to redeem himself or something, you know. Because... he didn't really do that in the first book. We'll see. I feel like... Yeah. I don't know. Hang on. Just finish the ship. Oh, I thought you'd been working on it for like 48 hours. Like, I thought you started it like a couple of days ago. No. That's chill. What was I thinking? Oh, okay. So, I know. I already know. It's my YouTube channel, it's my read aloud. I get to pick the books, blah, 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 blah. So, I know what I want to read next, but, like, I feel like I've picked every book now. So, it'd probably be nice if I let someone else pick the next book, but like, obviously, like, I can veto it if I don't want someone's suggestion, but, like, wait, do we have any suggestions? Hold on. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Tyler suggested that one, and he said it was genuinely amazing. And it's shorter, so I'd be down, honestly. And then you said The Alchemist. What is that? Is that a good read? Like, for a read aloud? Are there characters I could get into, you know? Or... Also... I don't think he watches anymore, but someone a while ago suggested, Wait! It's short? Oh, okay, cool. It's okay, wait, you're good. Oh, okay, cool. But it's good, but I have to look up, like, what it's about. But, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just read it. Does it have characters, or, like, it's a story? I don't know. I'd be down for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Alchemist. Wait, let me write down The Alchemist before I forget. Oh, I went away. The Alchemist. Okay. It's good. Okay. I do like going into things blind, so I could read some Star Wars comics. Oh yeah, I need to bust out my Scott Pilgrim books to show you guys. Not for a read aloud, but like, that could be a nostalgic thing I show you. Okay, cool. Let's do that. I'll read those two next, and then if they're, I wonder if your idea of short is not the same as my idea of short, but I'm down to read those next. And then Wraith, actually, I wanted to read Little Women, so I went and bought it. And then Wraith was like, I love Little Women. And I was like, what? I've never read it, but I love Little Women, so I need to read it. Wait. Yeah, I said I found Little Women for $2. And he said, I love Little Women, the book that is. He said he almost bought it, but didn't. Oh, and you like Little Men, too. Yeah, dude, I'm down. Like, Paulo Okay, cool. I got you. Yeah, I'll go. Before we finish this book, I'll hunt down those other two so we can read those too. Tiny females. Nah. So it's Little Women, and then Good Wives. I think it's a 4-book series. Hold up. I can tell you. It's Little Women. Bro. Come on. Good Wives, Little Men. Okay. So Little Women is the March sisters, right? It's 4 sisters. And it's awesome. It's about little people. No. It's about 4 sisters in during the Civil War in America. Okay. And it's great. Because it's just them. It's them, their lives together as sisters. You know, and their dad is off fighting the war. One sister wishes she was a man so she could fight in the war. One sister is like super feminine. One sister is like introverted, and they're all talented in their own ways, and just like their dynamics with like each other and their mom, and like, and then the neighbor boy. Anyway, it's good, and I'm making it sound stupid. I follow you from... Oh, cool. Nice to meet you, Luca. That's awesome. I love that name. Luca's great. No, yeah, so it's Little Women. And then Good Wives continues the story as they navigate love and marriage and their careers. Okay, so I guess Little Women is more like they're growing up, and then Good Wives is when they're all like... Well, I don't know if all of them get married, but anyway. Little Men focuses on Jo's life because she's a teacher. So I think I don't know. I don't. But I think she has like a school. I thought she made a school for girls, but maybe it's a school like just for boys. So it's like Little Men. And then the next one, the next one is Jo's Boys. And it concludes the series. And it's the next generation of their family. I only know about Little Women. They never made like any type of adaptations or anything for the other ones. So I don't know what happens after the first book. So like, I mean, if we don't have to do all 4. But my sister's reading them right now, and she says they're really good. So, like, if we really like them, I could read them alone. I could just keep going and read the rest. But, like, if we really like them, I'd be down to read them together. But I also don't know. Well, I do. I can't remember. I bought Little Women, and I can't remember if it was, like, really small or not. So we'll see, I guess. Yeah, sorry. I love Little Women, dude. And then I really want to read Anne of Green Gables. Have y'all heard of that? She's like a girl that she lives in Canada. I mean, Prince Edward Island. I don't know what time period that one takes place either. These are all like kind of back in the day. Because when did the Civil War take place? I don't know shit. Hold on. Wait. Okay, Anne of Green Gables is in the late 1800s, and she lives, 1870s, 1880s. She starts attending Queen's in 1880, and then she becomes a teacher. Okay, cool. Cool. And then Little Women. These are 2 very nostalgic things for me. So it's a tragedy that I haven't read the books yet. It's actually like, why haven't I read the books yet? I don't know. When does Little Women take place? Oh, I'm dumb. I was not thinking that. So 1860s? Okay. And that takes place in Massachusetts, where they live. It's really good. I can't believe I've never heard of these things. I'm gonna put you on some stuff. I mean, I don't know. I hope you guys like it. Maybe it's a girl thing, but like Rafe likes Little Women, so I don't know. Anyway, where are we in I'm curious. Hold on. I feel like we're on a good chapter. We gotta get Peter Pan done too, man. We started Peter Pan like 42 read-alouds ago, so it's been a while. I never have the energy to read Peter Pan. I mean, sorry. Oh, it's such a short chapter. It's a literal one-page chapter, bro. Okay, that's so short. We could read the next 2 chapters, like, super fast. Are you guys down? Can I go ahead and... Because, like, I feel like when I have the energy, I want to take advantage of it. Because I never have the energy. Or the one chapter about Shelby the spider. Shelob? Yeah, she's awesome. That would be so awesome. Oh, that'd be so cool. I'm reading The Hobbit right now. If you, what's your name? Sat, I'm gonna say your name wrong. Can I just call you Cumble? I don't want to call you that. Shelob. Do it. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, cool. No, my new friend, my love. If you have a nickname, please drop it so I can call you something. If you'd like, I never do this, but I need to get back into doing it because, yeah. Kivtaz. I'm saying that wrong. I just know I am. Anyway, if you want, we have a Discord server, and I do a private read aloud on Discord. So we have this read aloud for you guys, and then on Discord right now I'm reading The Hobbit, and I need to get back into doing that regularly so we can get through Lord of the Rings together. But that's Discord only, so if you want to join, that'd be nice. Then why'd you spell it the other way around? You goof? I'm sorry. Sorry ahead of time. If I'm being offensive. Anyway. So eventually, I will read the chapter about Shelob. Eventually. It'll be a while, but if you want to listen to that read aloud, it's on Discord. So go, it should be in the description of this thing. I have a link you can go to. Yeah. In the description. This is bothering me. Okay, they usually put a thing right here to keep it in place. I almost put a pin there, like a fancy pin, but I was like, I don't want to bring attention to it. Anyway, I'm bringing attention to it now. Okay, whatever. All right, let's get through this chapter of Peter Pan. Hold on, I'm about to drop everything. Let me get through this. Get through Peter Pan a little more, and then I can get off. I don't remember. Okay, so the plan is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest next, and then The Alchemist, and then we can start Little Women. Oh yeah. I'll find those books. If you remember, I don't remember, sorry, I can't start sentences ever. Okay. I don't remember which read aloud I last read a chapter of Peter Pan, but if you remember where we are, I don't know, where we left off last. Peter fought Hook at Marooner's Rock, the Mermaid Lagoon. Okay. Yeah, Tyler, that's your suggestion. Thank you for that. Your book is next. I got you. I'm excited. I do need to get into things I don't know about more, so. Okay, so, yeah, so Peter fought Hook, and Hook, like, wounded him, right, during the fight. So he got left behind. The Lost Boys left, and then he helped Wendy. They found a kite, and he tied the kite to Wendy's waist, and that, like, got her home, right? She, like, flew off on the kite. And, because anything can happen, it's Neverland. And, so now So now Peter is, like, wounded, and he's stuck on this rock, and the tide is coming in, and he knows he's gonna drown soon, but he doesn't have the strength to swim or fly. And he's all alone. Okay. And the way the last chapter ended was with him saying, to die will be an awfully big adventure. Okay. So now we're on chapter 9, called The Neverbird. And here we go. And it's super short, so I'm just going to do the next 2 chapters because the next one is 1 page and the one after that is 2 pages. So here we go. The last sounds Peter heard before he was quite alone were the mermaids retiring one by one to their bedchambers under the sea. He was too far away to hear their doors shut, but every door in the coral caves where they live rings a tiny bell when it opens or closes, as in all the nicest houses on the mainland, and he heard the bells. Steadily the waters rose till they were nibbling at his feet, and to pass the time until they made their final gulp, he watched the only thing moving on the lagoon. He thought it was a piece of floating paper, perhaps part of the kite, and wondered idly how long it would take to drift ashore. Presently he noticed as an odd thing that it was undoubtedly out upon the lagoon with some definite purpose, for it was fighting the tide, and sometimes winning, and when it won, Peter, always sympathetic to the weaker side, could not help clapping. It was such a gallant piece of paper. It was not really a piece of paper. It was the Neverbird, making desperate efforts to reach Peter on her nest. By working her wings in a way she had learned since the nest fell into the water, she was able to some extent to guide her strange craft, but by the time Peter recognized her, she was very exhausted. She had come to save him, to give him her nest, though there were eggs in it. I rather wonder at the bird, for though he had been nice to her, he had always sometimes tormented her. I can suppose only that, like Mrs. Darling and the rest of them, she was melted because he had all his first teeth. She called out to him what she had come for, and he called out to her what was she doing there. But, of course, neither of them understood the other's language. In fanciful stories, people can talk to the birds freely, and I wish for the moment I could pretend that this was such a story, and say that Peter replied intelligently to the Neverbird, but truth is best, and I want to tell only what really happened. Well, not only could they not understand each other, but they forgot their manners. I want you to get into the nest, the bird called, speaking as slowly and distinctly as possible, and then you can drift ashore. But I am too tired to bring it any nearer, so you must try to swim to it. What are you quacking about? Peter answered. Why don't you let the nest drift as usual? I want you, the bird said, and repeated it all over. Then Peter tried slow and distinct. What are you quacking about? And so on. The Neverbird became irritated, and they have very short tempers. You dunderheaded little jay, she screamed. Why don't you do as I tell you? Peter felt that she was calling names, and at a venture he retorted hotly, So are you. Then rather curiously they both snapped out the same remark. Shut up! Shut up! Nevertheless, the bird was determined to save him, if she could, and by one last mighty effort, she propelled the nest against the rock. Then up she flew, deserting her eggs, so as to make her meaning clear. Then at last he understood and clutched the nest, and waved his thanks to the bird as she fluttered overhead. It was not to receive his thanks, however, that she hung there in the sky. It was not even to watch him get into the nest. It was to see what he did with her eggs. There were 2 large white eggs, and Peter lifted them up and reflected. The bird covered her face with her wings, so as not to see the last of them, but she could not help peeping between the feathers. I forget whether I have told you that there was a stave on the rock driven into it by some buccaneers of long ago to mark the site of buried treasure. The children had discovered the glittering hoard, and when in mischievous mood used to fling showers of moidores, diamonds, pearls, and pieces of 8 to the gulls, who pounced upon them for food and then flew away, raging at the scurvy trick that had been played upon them. The stave was still there, and on it Starkey had hung his hat, a deep tarpaulin, watertight with a broad brim. Peter put the eggs into this hat and set it on the lagoon. It floated beautifully. The Neverbird saw at once what he was up to and screamed her admiration of him, and alas, Peter crowed his agreement with her. Then he got into the nest, reared the stave in it as a mast, and hung up his shirt for a sail. At the same moment the bird fluttered down upon the hat and once more sat snugly on her eggs. She drifted in one direction, and he was borne off in another, both cheering. Of course, when Peter landed, he beached his bark in a place where the bird would easily find it, but the hat was such a great success that she abandoned the nest. It drifted about till it went to pieces, and often Starkey came to the shore of a lagoon, and with many bitter feelings watched the bird sitting on his hat. As we shall not see her again, it may be worth mentioning here that all Neverbirds now build in that shape of nest, with a broad brim, on which the youngsters take an airing. Great were the rejoicings when Peter reached the home under the ground almost as soon as Wendy, who had been carried hither and thither by the kite. Every boy had adventures to tell, but perhaps the biggest adventure of all was that they were several hours late for bed. This so inflated them that they did various dodgy things to get staying up still later. That they did dodgy things to get staying up still longer, such as demanding bandages. But Wendy, though glorying in having them all home again safe and sound, was scandalized by the lateness of the hour and cried, to bed," in a voice that had to be obeyed. Next day, however, she was awfully tender and gave out bandages to everyone, and they played till bedtime at limping about and carrying their arms in slings. The end. And then chapter 5. I love this chapter. Ow. My nose. Okay. The happy home. One important result of the brush on the lagoon was that it made the Redskins their friends. Peter had saved Tiger Lily from a dreadful fate, and now there was nothing she and her braves would not do for him. All night they sat above, keeping watch over the home under the ground, and awaiting the big attack by the pirates, which obviously could not be much longer delayed. Even by day they hung about, smoking the pipe of peace, and looking almost as if they wanted titbits to eat. They called Peter the Great White Father, prostrating themselves before him, and he liked this tremendously, so that it was not really good for him. "The Great White Father," he would say to them in a very lordly manner as they grovelled at his feet, "is glad to see the Pickaninny warriors protecting his wigwam from the pirates. Meek..." Why the Great White Father? Why? I don't know. "Me Tiger Lily," that lovely creature would reply. "Peter Pan save me. Me his very nice friend. Me no let pirates hurt him." She was far too pretty to cringe in this way, but Peter thought it his due, and he would answer condescendingly, "It is good. Peter Pan has spoken." Always when he said Peter Pan has spoken, it meant that they must now shut up, and they accepted it humbly in that spirit. But they were by no means so respectful to the other boys, whom they looked upon as just ordinary braves. They said "how do" to them, and things like that, and what annoyed the boys was that Peter seemed to think this all right. Secretly, Wendy sympathized with them a little, but she was far too loyal a housewife to listen to any complaints against Father. "Father knows best," she always said, whatever her private opinion must be. Her private opinion was that the Redskins should not call her a squaw. We have now reached the evening that was to be known among them as the Night of Nights, because of its adventures and their upshot. The day, as if quietly gathering its forces, had been almost uneventful, and now the Redskins in their blankets were at their posts above, while below the children were having their evening meal. All except Peter, who had gone out to get the time. The way you got the time on the island was to find the crocodile and then stay near him till the clock struck. This meal happened to be a make-believe tea, and they sat round the board guzzling in their greed, and really, what with their chatter and recriminations, the noise, as Wendy said, was positively deafening. To be sure, she did not mind noise, but she simply would not have them grabbing things and then excusing themselves by saying that Toodles had pushed their elbow. There was a fixed rule that they must never hit back at meals, but should refer the matter of dispute to Wendy by raising the right arm politely and saying, "I complain of so-and-so." But what usually happened was that they forgot to do this or did it too much. "Silence!" cried Wendy, when for the 20th time she had told them that they were not all to speak at once. "Is your calabash empty, Slightly darling?" "Not quite empty, Mummy," Slightly said after looking into an imaginary mug. "He hasn't even begun to drink his milk," Nibs interposed. This was telling, and Slightly seized his chance. "I complain of Nibs," he cried promptly. John, however, had held up his hand first. "Well, John?" "May I sit in Peter's chair, as he is not here?" "Sit in Father's chair, John?" Wendy was scandalized. "Certainly not." "He is not really our father," John answered. "He didn't even know how a father does till I showed him." This was grumbling. "We complain of John," cried the twins. Toodles held up his hand. He was so much the humblest of them, indeed he was the only humble one, that Wendy was specially gentle with him. "I don't suppose," Toodles said diffidently, "that I could be father." "No, Toodles." Once Toodles began, which was not very often, he had a silly way of going on. "As I can't be father," he said heavily, "I don't suppose, Michael, you would let me be baby." "No, I won't," Michael rapped out. He was already in his basket. "As I can't be baby," Toodles said, getting heavier and heavier, "do you think I could be a twin?" "No, indeed," replied the twins. "It's awfully difficult to be a twin." "As I can't be anything important," said Toodles, "would any of you like to see me do a trick?" "No," they all replied. Then at last he stopped. "I hadn't really any hope," he said. The hateful telling broke out again. "Slightly is coughing on the table." The twins began with cheesecakes. "Curly is taking both butter and honey." "Nibs is speaking with his mouth full." "I complain of the twins." "I complain of Curly." "I complain of Nibs." Oh dear," cried Wendy. "I'm sure I sometimes think that spinsters are to be envied." She told them to clear away and sat down to her work-basket, a heavy load of stockings and every knee with a hole in it, as usual. "Wendy," remonstrated Michael, "I'm too fat for a cradle." "I must have somebody in a cradle," she said almost tartly, "and you are the littlest. A cradle is such a nice homely thing to have about a house." While she sewed, they played around her, such a group of happy faces and dancing limbs, lit up by that romantic fire. It had become a very familiar scene, this in the home under the ground, but we are looking on it for the last time. There was a step above, and Wendy, you may be sure, was the first to recognize it. "Children, I hear your father's step. He likes you to meet him at the door." Above, the redskins crouched before Peter. "Watch well, braves, I have spoken." And then, as so often before, the gay children dragged him from his tree, as so often before, but never again. He had brought nuts for the boys, as well as the correct time for Wendy. "Peter, you just spoil them, you know," Wendy simpered. "Ah, old lady," said Peter, hanging up his gun. "It was me told him mothers are called old lady," Michael whispered to Curly. "I complain of Michael," said Curly instantly. The first twin came to Peter. "Father, we want to dance." "Dance away, my little man," said Peter, who was in high good humor. "But we want to dance." Peter was really the best dancer among them, but he pretended to be scandalized. "Me? My old bones would rattle." "And Mummy, too." "What?" cried Wendy. "The mother of such an armful dance." "But on a Saturday night," Slightly insinuated. It was not really Saturday night. At least it may have been, for they had long lost count of the days, but always, if they wanted to do anything special, they said this was Saturday night, and then they did it. "Of course, it is Saturday night, Peter," Wendy said, relenting. "People of our figure, Wendy." "But it is only among our own progeny." "True, true." So they were told they could dance, but they must put on their nighties first. "Ah, old lady," Peter said aside to Wendy, warming himself by the fire and looking down at her as she sat turning a heel. "There's nothing more pleasant of an evening for you and me, when the day's toil is over, than to rest by the fire with the little ones nearby." "It is sweet, Peter, isn't it?" Wendy said, frightfully gratified. "Peter, I think Curly has your nose." "Michael takes after you." She went to him and put her hand on his shoulder. "Dear Peter," she said, "with such a large family, of course I have now passed my best. But you don't want to change me, do you?" "No, Wendy." Certainly he did not want to change, but he looked at her uncomfortably, blinking, like one not sure whether he was awake or asleep. "Peter, what is it?" I was just thinking," he said, a little scared. It is only make-believe, isn't it, that I am their father?" "Oh, yes," Wendy said primly. "You see," he continued apologetically, "it would make me seem so old to be their real father." "But they are ours, Peter, yours and mine." "But not really, Wendy?" he asked anxiously. "Not if you don't wish it," she replied, and she distinctly heard his sigh of relief. "Peter," she asked, trying to speak firmly, "what are your exact feelings to me?" "Those of a devoted son, Wendy." "I thought so," she said, and went and sat by herself at the extreme end of the room. "You are so queer," he said, frankly puzzled. "And Tiger Lily is just the same. There's something she wants to be to me, but she says it is not my mother." "No, indeed it is not," Wendy replied with frightful emphasis. Now we know why she was prejudiced against the Redskins. "Then what is it?" It is not for a lady to tell." "Oh, very well," Peter said, a little nettled. "Perhaps Tinkerbell will tell me." "Oh, yes, Tinkerbell will tell you," Wendy retorted scornfully. "She is an abandoned little creature." Here, Tink, who was in her bedroom eavesdropping, squeaked out something impudent. "She says she glories in being abandoned," Peter interpreted. He had a sudden idea. "Perhaps Tink wants to be my mother?" "You silly ass," cried Tinkerbell in a passion. She had said it so often that Wendy needed no translation. "I almost agree with her," Wendy snapped. Fancy Wendy snapping. She had been much tried, and she little knew what was to happen before the night was out. If she had known, she would not have snapped. None of them knew. Perhaps it was best not to know. Their ignorance gave them one more glad hour, and as it was to be their last hour on the island, let us rejoice that there were 60 glad minutes in it. They sang and danced in their nightgowns, such a deliciously creepy song it was, in which they pretended to be frightened at their own shadows, little witting that so soon shadows would close in upon them, from whom they would shrink in real fear. So uproariously gay was the dance, and how they buffeted each other on the bed and out of it. It was a pillow fight rather than a dance, and when it was finished the pillows insisted on one bout more, like partners who know that they may never meet again. The stories they told before it was time for Wendy's goodnight story. Even Slightly tried to tell a story that night, and the beginning was so fearfully dull that it appalled not only the others but himself, and he said happily, "Yes, it is a dull beginning. I say, let us pretend that it is the end." And then at last they all got into bed for Wendy's story, the story they loved best, the story Peter hated. Usually when she went to tell this story, he left the room or put his hands over his ears, and possibly, if he had done either of those things this time, they might all still be on the island, but tonight he remained on his stool, and we shall see what happened. Okay, how long is it? Oh. Okay, the end. I'll wait. It's so good. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I've read this book like 12 times. I love this book. Okay, cool. We're close though. It's I think it's like 14. I should have this memorized. Hold on. It's not 14. I always think it's 14 chapters long, but it's oh wait, that's the other book. Maybe I am right. Hold on. Is it 14? No. It's 17. Yeah, 17. So we're... What? We got 7 more chapters. Cool. Thanks for listening. Seriously. My nose is like right there. Right there. Super itchy. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, for real, if you actually wanted to hear me read Lord of the Rings, join my Discord, yo. Because I do need to get back into reading this. And now that our movie night might have a complication, we could do read alouds more often on Discord and do like group games. But I need to figure out a way to make movie night work still, because I love our movie night. How many? There's The Hobbit, and then there's 3. The Fellowship of the Ring. I always mess this up because if you mess it up, you're gonna reference 9/11. It's the 2 Towers. 2 Towers. And then Return of the King. So there's 3. Yeah. But we're on The Hobbit right now. We just need to get through The Hobbit, and then we can start Lord of the Rings. It's great to see you again. Great to see you too. But yeah. I need to get back into doing that regularly. We're also about to hit Read Aloud number 50 on here. I gotta make a video for it. I'm planning a video for that. It's really cool. What did he say? Oh, I don't want to know. But I do. Anyway, content on content, yeah. I'm planning a video, as like a thing. Yeah, I don't want to know. But thank you, kind of, sort of, but also not. Anyway, yeah, I'm planning a video that's kind of like just like, it's really cool. We've done almost 50 read alouds now. It's like awesome. And like within that, I think we've read one. We didn't finish Pilgrim's Progress, which I do want to finish eventually. But we started that one. We read The Little Prince, The House at Pooh Corner. House at Pooh Corner was so good. Wind in the Willows. We're reading Willows in Winter. Reading Peter Pan. So what was that, 6? Am I missing a book? Oh, we did One Day. One Day was so good. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty awesome. Milestone for sure. So yeah, I have a video I've started to work on for that. I have a plan for that, so hopefully I can finish it by the time we hit Read Aloud 50. I just need to crack down and do it. But yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Anywho, I will do my darndest. I don't know though, honestly, like, yeah, without spending money, I don't know how possible it's about to be to continue our movie nights. I'm really gonna try to find a way, I hope. Because I love our movie nights, and they were going strong. It was working, so anyway. But until then, if I need to, I'll just replace those with like game nights. we can do group games and read alouds on Discord. Yeah, because I still want to, I like having like YouTube content and hangouts on Discord separately. You know, I like doing both, so. The reason I was because the writer actually hunted whales and had an adventure before writing. Oh, cool. Same with Tolkien? No, hang on. Down for some game nights, yeah. Marvel Rivals was fun. Hold on, I'll tell you in a sec. That's actually really cool. I didn't know he actually, so he said the writer of Moby Dick actually went out and hunted whales. I mean, that's sad for me, but like, that's cool. Like, he wrote about his experience, kind of. Or he used his experience to write that story. That's cool. And I did not know Tolkien did that too. That's very cool. No, I don't believe the author of Peter Pan. No, I do know, like, the author of Peter Pan, James Matthew, J.M. Barrie, James Barrie. I know that he had a really tragic backstory childhood. Like, I know his mother died at a really young age, and the woman that I think that caused, I read about it once, I'm pretty sure, like, that loss for him caused him to stay in, like, a, you know, when sometimes trauma causes people to stay stuck in that age mentally, like, he didn't really grow up mentally. So, like, he did end up, like, he did get married, but they never consummated their marriage or anything. Like, they slept in separate beds. I think they slept in separate rooms. I don't even know. I guess back then, like, he probably married because that was the thing to do, and she probably married because, as a woman, marriage was more of a strategic decision. Or maybe she, like, had to. I don't know, you know. But I know he stayed kind of stuck in that mentality of, like, an 11-year-old. So, basically, James Barrie is Peter Pan mentally. And then Wendy is, I think he based the character of Wendy off of his own mother. So when you know the actual, like, backstory of the author, reading the book is pretty heartbreaking, actually. I absolutely love this book. Like, it's my favorite book. I just think there's just so much packed in there that you don't even really, like, realize the first time you read it, I guess. So the more I read it, the more I, like, notice about it. I don't know. Yeah, that's my long way of saying that. I think it's really interesting. I just, the author had a really messed up backstory, so. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. He got married, but they never, it wasn't really, like, an official marriage based on consummation or whatever, but yeah. And they actually did they made a movie about it. I don't know, the movie's absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know, I know that he did befriend a family, and the lady that he befriended, her children were kind of his inspiration for the Lost Boys. I know that. So they did make a movie with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp played James Barrie when he's married in his, like, unhappy marriage, and he befriends this family, and that's when he gets, because he was a playwright, so that's when he gets his, like, inspiration to write Peter Pan, when he finds this family, and he's spending a lot of time with them, and they're just giving him inspiration. I don't know how accurate, though, they made the movie to his actual story in real life, but that movie kills me. It's Johnny Depp and Kate Winslet, and it's really good. But yeah. You said Marvel. Okay, so I played Marvel Rivals last night for the first time, and this is my, like, second ever shooting game. Second ever, like, not platforming game, pretty much. But my first ever, like, team. Like, you're on a team, right? I don't know what to call it. What kind of game is it? It's my first time, and it was really fun. And so far I've played as Emma Frost. I wanted to try a Vanguard. My friend said that's, like, a wild choice to try first, but I had fun. I thought it was fun. And the first time playing, I got 3 kills. That's not that good, but I got 3 kills. I felt pretty good. I mean, satisfying, you know. I can't wait to get more. But I was gonna try to practice some more by myself tonight on, like, some hey, Gamer! How are you, darling? We were just talking about you. Hang on. I'm gonna try to practice more tonight by myself on like other people I could play as, so I have more options and stuff. So, who do you think I should play as next? If you, like, knowing me, and I'm assuming you know the game okay, who would you think would be my favorite person to play as? I asked my friend this too. He hasn't responded yet, but Hulk? Deadass? I would. Yeah, I would. Okay. Oh, Tolkien went to war. His friends died in the war. I didn't know that. You like the tree? Thank you. With all my narwhals. The more I read it, the more I notice about it. That's a good book. Very true. Very true. That's why I love it. Glad you liked it. Had to wait to get off work. Healer vibes? Venom? Oh, I want to try the shark. Okay, so that's funny you say that because my friend admitted he genuinely invited me to play so that they could have a healer on their team. So I need to learn how to do it, how to play one of the healers. That's funny. I'll let you know. I might do, I don't know. Mantis? Literally, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into all of them. I tried Venom, like, before I did Emma Frost, I, like, for 2 seconds tried Venom, but I didn't, like, look into his actual abilities and stuff, so I need to try him again. But just, like, going into a fight, not knowing anything right off the bat, Venom was, like, I don't know. I'll let you know. I'm gonna try him again. I'll try him. The shark, Jeff, is adorable. I'd be down. What kind of guy is Jeff? Is he's not a tank. What is he? Am I gonna have to download it? Yes! If you want. Yeah, sure. That'd be fun if we all played that once I, like, don't suck super hard at it. I'd be so down. So far I really like Emma Frost though. She was fun to play as. And I was doing okay. I was slamming some people to the ground. Okay. I was. Yeah, I'm super down. What are y'all's mains? So I won't learn those yet. I won't prioritize those. Does everybody have, like, their favorite person to play as? Or not really? Think about it. Pray about it. I mean, it's free. So, yeah. How was Moon Knight? Oh yeah, I was told I should try Magneto too. Word. Hulk and Magneto. I forgot. No, that's another Vanguard. I kind of want to try a strategist next. We'll see. But I should learn how to do a healer too. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's fun though. I like it. I can definitely understand. Like, I don't think I could play it for, like, well, I don't know. I feel like it depends on the people you're playing with, but I could maybe play it for a while. But, like, I don't know about hours. Hours and hours and hours. Like, I don't know about that, but also we need to play Overcooked. I played Overcooked. Okay. I played Overcooked. Okay. And it's fun, but, like, when you play by yourself, they make you still have 2 people in the kitchen, and you have to switch between them and multitask with both of them, which is good. Like, you can get more done, more than just one person, but, like, it's a lot. And I'm over here like, I wish I just had another person here playing and doing this for me. We need to play again. I mean, we need to play together. And I feel like with, like, 4 people playing, Like, it'd be chaotic, but we'd be getting stuff done, you know? Right? I feel. Yeah. If you streamed it, I would have fun if I streamed it. I just can't stream. You don't even understand how much I miss gaming on stream. Okay? It's unreal, actually, how much I miss it. I chop those meats. I wash the dishes. I'll pour the soup. No, but it's unreal. Even if it would be really fun to play a group game together, but even if we can't, I want to just anytime be able to hop on live and play my game while hanging out with you guys. Like, it's really a bummer. I'm not gonna lie. I played Overwatch heavily for like 3 or 4 years, so nice. I'm not. You'd have to carry my ass, but I could be a healer and help in that way, I guess. No, I'll get better. I got 3 kills. I got 3 kills. It's not that impressive. Anyway, this stuff is made from honey. We were just talking about that. He said they're putting it in lip balm for no reason whatsoever. It actually has a lot of healing properties. So, I was a healer main in Overwatch. Okay. I still want to get good though. It's good. Dude, my lips have been messed up. My lips and my skin, you can't really tell. But I can feel it, okay? You don't understand. Okay, so last week I was sick, right? All last week, I didn't do anything. I worked from home, and I saw my sister in town as much as I could. But, like, this cold, I don't remember if I told you all already or not. This cold absolutely messed me up. It didn't congest and stuff me up where I couldn't breathe and stuff. It dried me out. I swear. It dried me out. Like, it started with my nose being so dry, it hurt. Like, not empty and clear. That's good. It was like I couldn't breathe, but there was nothing in there. Like, it was dry. And then I was drinking hella water, man. It's this cold. And I'm wondering if it's because when I felt the cold coming on, I started taking Sudafed, which is a decongestant. I'm wondering if the Sudafed dried me out. But basically, it was my nose, and then I noticed Friday, when I was trying to ignore the fact that I'm starting to get sick, Friday, before that week, I noticed my lips got really, really dry. Like, dry, chapped, flaky. It was bad. I've never had lips that chapped ever, and like they were like chapped past my lip line, like up here, and it was really concerning me. Okay, and then Sunday, I noticed all of the skin on my face was crazy dry and flaky. Okay. And it was just like, yeah, not retaining water or something. It was crazy. So that's when I realized, oh my gosh. Because I used to, like, instinctively take Sudafed. I've had sinus problems for so long, okay? Like, chronic sinus problems. So I would take Sudafed when it got really bad. I've never had Sudafed affect me like this. So Sunday I realized, like, wait, I wonder if it's the medicine I'm taking. So I looked up the side effects of Sudafed, and it said sometimes it can dry out your skin and mouth. And that's when I was like, whoa! So I stopped taking it Sunday. I think I stopped taking it Saturday. Because I woke up and I'm just so dry. Okay, all over. And it feels like a sunburn. Like your skin like stretched out, and when I'm touching it, like it looks nice right now. I'll tell you why in a sec, but like touching it, it feels like grainy. It's not me. I have nice skin, man. It's really messing with me, and it still hasn't gone back to normal. But Sunday was when I was like, okay, I'll stop the Sudafed, but like, what do I do to reverse these effects, right? So that's when I started putting tallow on my skin. Because a lot of people put, thank you. Yeah, sandpaper. Yes, yes. Literally, like I just got home from the beach and I still have sand on my face or something. It's really bad. And not me. This is not normal for me. Okay. So Sunday was when I started putting, not this Sunday, a week ago Sunday was when I started putting tallow on my face. Because some people use, it's like, it works, but it's beef fat. A lot of people use it for skincare, apparently, I found out. So that's when I started putting it on my face. And I mean, I do kid you not, within 2 days from Sunday of putting tallow on, it did fix the look. Okay? It no longer like was visible that my skin was super dried out. And it was seemingly fixing the lips problem. And the acne that I was having over here and over here, I was super complaining about my acne, remember? Within 2 days, my acne is cleared. And I've been using it for almost 2 weeks now. Almost. And I haven't had any acne. So that's pretty cool. That's freaking cool. But like my skin still hasn't gone back to normal. And my lips aren't back to normal. And it's really pissed me off, man. And like, I think I made it worse because Sunday I went to the lake. I went, my friend, I'm talking so much, I'm sorry. My friend invited me to her church because I've been trying to find a new church to go to. I don't like my family's church. So I went to her church. They invited me to their like after church lake day. So I went to the lake. I did put sunscreen on, but I think I should have put it on twice because I got a little sunburnt. So I'm hoping that it got dry again because it's like healing from the sunburn. So the sunburn isn't even like that intense or visible, but like maybe the sandpaper is just like it's recovering from that. I'm still putting the tallow on it, so I hope it goes back to normal soon, but I literally, like, you can't see it. Okay, you can't see it, but like, there's a patch right there. That whole part of my lip is a different color right now. Like, it's like, I think it got, is it a sun, like a blister? Like, it hasn't, like, come up yet. I'm hoping I knock it out before it even gets here. Because my mom gets those when she's out in the sun for too long. She gets like I don't know what they're called. It's not like a cold sore. It's like a something from the sun, like a fever blister or something. I don't know what it's called. I've never gotten one. I've had a couple times where I felt like one coming on, but I managed to like proactively fight it, so it never came. So I'm feeling it again, and I honestly am just hoping it's just from the sun, and hopefully within like a few days or a week my skin comes back because I have soft skin. But just right now all my skin is normal, but right now my face is not matching my soft skin, and I don't know why. So, but it started with the cold, and now it kind of seemed like it was going back to normal, and then it came back, and I hope it's just from that lake day in the sun. I don't know. But anyway, I did get cooked, just a little cooked. Why don't... Oh, I stopped taking the medicine as soon as I realized. That was like a week ago I stopped. Desert skin. That does sound kind of... It sounds like a horror film or, I don't know. Like a Marc Jacobs perfume or something stupid. I'm sorry. It doesn't even sound like that. Anyway, I don't even know how I got on that. How did I even start talking about that? Did you ask me something? Sorry. Oh, this shit. That's why I'm putting this shit on now. I've never... I do ramble. I'm a rambler. Get ready. Get ready. I do be rambling. Yeah, the lip balm. My roommate gave me this because I've literally been trying everything I could try to heal my lips. I don't even care. I care about the skin, but I care so much more about my lips. I feel like I can't smile all the way. So she was like, well, my friend makes this out of like I don't know why I just gave her that voice. I'm sorry. If you're watching, you're not. She doesn't sound like that. Anyway, she said my friend makes this out of like natural stuff and honey and stuff. So, can't hurt, right? I don't know. I probably should just stick to the tallow and like only use that, but it's got like a subtle, but it's got a little bit of a smell to it. I feel like I smell like cooking, like fry oil. This is not making me seem appealing at all. At least you guys can't smell me. I smell good, I promise. No, I smell good. My hair smells good. It's just this, it smells like beef. Like, just a little hint. But if that is the price I must pay for good skin, whatever. I'm gonna shut up now. Yeah, I do need to get off. I meant to get off a while ago, but I just had so much energy, and I love reading Peter Pan after if I have energy. So thanks for sticking around and listening to all the chapters if you did, and my lovely friends and moderators. You're the bomb. I love you so much. Thanks for hanging out. I smell like beef. I do. No, I don't. I don't. Well, actually, how do you know? My nose goes. I can't really smell. I can't smell. What was that? No. I will say, it's like when I... It's like when I first put it on. I only put it on once a day. I might do twice a day just while it's dry right now. But you don't know what beef smells like? Huh. Anyway, just think of like a hamburger. But just the fat of the hamburger. So when you go and cook a hamburger, just the grease afterward. Anyway, whatever. I smell it when I first put it on. And then obviously like the smell, it doesn't linger for too long. That's okay. I think it goes away. Within like, I'd say like an hour. Maybe like 40 minutes. It goes away. So maybe other people can't smell it. But I can smell it on me when I first put it on, so. Yeah, kind of. I kind of smell like burgers. Yeah. It does remind me of burgers. A little bit. But, you know, if I just found the hack for acne, and dry skin. I'm fine with smelling like a burger for an hour a day. What's okay? No, no. More like a better quality burger. Like Five Guys. That's not better quality. Hold on. Low key. No, like when you go Burgatory. It is for me because I'm yeah, Red Robin. Yeah, I was gonna say like a sit down restaurant. I'm gonna say something y'all don't know about. I need a burger after application. Yeah. Yeah. Or it makes you tired of burgers. Yeah. Yeah, upscale. Yeah. So like, I'm trying to think of a place. Yeah, Red Robin was a good example. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to go eat dinner. No, but freaking ouch. I think it's fine. I'll take smelling like a burger for a second if it means I have good skin. So, although look at that. What's that? Or you can't really see it. Hold on. I noticed that this morning, and you're gonna see it at the end of the week in my outfit video. I have like a patch of red ass skin right there, just right there. You can't really tell unless I blink. That one's not red. It looks way less dramatic on here for some reason. You gotta see it like in real life, but like I noticed it this morning and I was like, did somehow the corner of one eyelid get sunburnt? And how? What do you mean Red Robin is a good quality burger? Oh, I don't know. I've never been to Red Robin. Wait, have I? I've never had a burger at Red Robin. So I don't know. I'm gonna get some hate for this, maybe. I don't. Oh, you love Red Robin? Okay. I need to go again. Honestly, okay, so you know how, like, you you have, like if you have a bad experience, no, okay. Like, I always use Step Brothers for this example, or as an example of this. So, when you experience something good for the first time, but you're with someone unpleasant while experiencing it, it makes you think it was bad, right? So like, first time I watched Step Brothers, I was with this douche canoe, and he just made the whole experience watching the movie terrible. So I thought maybe I just don't like that movie. But it was because of him, not the movie. So like Red Robin, the only time I ever went to Red Robin was with this asshat of a dude. Okay, he looked like a snail. My sister always says this. Whenever we bring him up, she's like, oh yeah, the guy that looked like a snail. Anyway, she's like, why did you talk to him for 2 months? Every time. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, it's because it's a stupid movie. That's just your opinion, bro. No, anyway. Yeah, so we went to Red Robin. This guy was a whole tool bench, okay? A whole tool bench. And so he kind of like ruined our one and only experience of Red Robin for us. Also, if you say you're gonna pay. Don't take us to a nice restaurant. I guess it's nice, right? Red Robin? I don't know. Don't take us to a place that's more expensive than Chick-fil-A and then ask us to pay for it. If you said you're gonna pay for lunch and you suggest Red Robin, if I knew I was gonna pay for lunch, I would have said, let's just go to Chick-fil-A. But then we get there, we order our food, and he's like, oh, by the way, can you guys actually pay for yourselves? I don't don't mind paying for myself, but I wouldn't have let you pick Red Robin if I knew I was paying. I'm a thrifter. I should have just left, except he drove us there too. So, no. I really should have just like walked across the street and gone somewhere cheaper, but like, I've just been like, you can pick us up. No, we can Uber. We don't need to see you again. But like, yeah, so that's my so when he said that, I don't think we had ordered yet. No, we had ordered. Whatever. I got the mac and cheese. I think it was fine for mac and cheese, you know, but just the whole time he ruined the mood because we hadn't even eaten yet and we knew we had to pay for that shit. I don't know. I should go again. I'll go again. I'll go again and I'll let you know. And if you think the burgers there are good, I'll get a burger. And then I can match with the food. So try it again. Yeah, I will. Just not with that guy. Ugh, that guy was really weird. Snail guy, if you're watching this, I don't know what I want to say to you. I don't really want to say anything to you. You freaked me out for a multitude of reasons, and you should know why. So, not for that. You're a dick for that one. But like, oh my gosh, that dude had so many problems, and I was like, I don't know you well enough to care this much. I'm so sorry. Like, that sounded so bitchy. No, I just like, it's only been 2 months. I'm not your girlfriend. You can't really talk to me like that. Sorry. I don't like chilies. I don't like chilies either. I don't remember what I got there, but it just like wasn't memorable. Our Chili's went out of business too, so I can't even go to Chili's if I wanted to. They have a Red Robin? An orange cream shake? Or do you mean Chili's? Oh, but Wraith, I was gonna say before I get off, I'm just gonna tell Wraith. I was saying that the next book I wanted to read is Little Women, and then I remembered that you said you like Little Women a lot. So what we're gonna do, before we get into a whole new series, in case we love Little Women and we want to read the 3 other books, first we're gonna do Tyler's suggestion of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? I think that's what it's called, because it's short, is what he said, and it's like genuinely amazing in his words. And then Oscar suggested The Alchemist. Are you guys so proud of me for remembering all this right now? The Alchemist. I almost said The Anarchist. The Alchemist, because that one's short too, and it'll be something I have no idea what it's about, and I would go into it blind and probably like it a lot. So we'll do those 2 next, and then Little Women. Because I bought Little Women months ago, so I'm very ready to read that. I know, I'm doing good. It's wild. Yeah. I knew it started with an A. Honestly, it helps that I love Full Metal Alchemist. That's helping me remember. It's such a good show! See, I need to figure out a way for us to keep movie nights going. Because maybe we could get into a show together. If y'all haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, you should get on that. Little Women. Which movie? Or the newer 2018 one, or did you grow up on it, or? I'm curious. Yeah. Let me turn this off. That's hurting my eyes. Okay. Because, I grew up on the Winona Ryder. It's Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst, a couple other people. Oh, the lady that I always forget the name of, the Rocky Horror Picture Show lady. Not Sigourney Weaver. The one that I don't know why I associate Sigourney Weaver with her. I literally love her. What's her name? Anyway. And Christian Bale. Winona Ryder, Christian Bale, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst, one other person I don't know the name of, and the mom. Oh. Susan Sarandon. Definitely not the newer one. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the one I grew up on. Susan Sarandon. I don't know why I think it's Sigourney Weaver every time. Sigourney Weaver's an alien. Susan Sarandon is in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Anyway, she plays Marmee. She's the best. I love that one because I grew up on it, of course. And Winona Ryder's a great Jo. And stuff. Oh, and Claire Danes. She does Beth so good. I love her as Beth. Okay, great. And I love Marmee. Yes. But I hate to say it. Okay? 2018, they pumped out a new Little Women, and I just really liked it, man. It's like I'm really torn because nostalgia, and I'm big on nostalgia. But then now I have another Teddy to compare to Christian Bale's Teddy, and now Christian Bale is looking a little creepy. You know? And I have good reasons for that. He's creepy. And when you know that he said in the book this thing about the March sisters, it makes them creepier. And like, ugh. It's, yeah. Anyway, the 2018 one made it seem a lot more like Teddy was closer to Amy's age. And in the Christian Bale one, the age difference is really obvious, and it's not comfortable, and that's a thing. And he also, like, you know how in love he is with you know who I'm talking about. And you know it's like this passion, like intensity, right? But Christian Bale doesn't really do that. He's more like soft, whispery about it. And if you go and like watch, and I'm so sorry, I'm not even like humongously big on Timothée Chalamet, but Timothée Chalamet did a really good Teddy. Okay? It might be because he looked younger, I don't know. But like, he's intense. He's like passionate about his feelings for her. Christian Bale is like, oh. And Timothée Chalamet is like, I'd rather die than not be with you. Like, and he's so intense about it. And that's how he should be. So, I have so many things about this movie. I thought the 2018 one was so well made. And like, the pacing, you know, and they like, I don't know if you saw it, but they like switch between the past and the present. They do that a lot. Whereas and I thought they did it really well. I thought it was like a good idea to do it the way they did it. And like, it like really shows the dynamics a lot more. Age differences like that. I know. No, I know, and I never thought about it as a kid, but then you go back and watch it, and then you compare it to the newer one, and I think they just did it so much better where it doesn't feel as uncomfortable at all. Plus, it's just like, it helps that Florence Pugh plays Amy the whole time. I thought it was kind of weird because she's like, they tried to make her look and act younger for the past parts and then look and act more sophisticated for the present parts, and it's still her. She has the same face and voice and stuff, but like it kind of made it seem less like her and Teddy's age difference is massive, whereas like Kirsten Dunst is tiny, but Christian Bale stays Christian Bale the whole time, you know. And then they just change her actor to someone older, but he's still the same. I don't know, it's just it's weird. I don't know, but I thought they did it really well with Timothy Chalamet, so yeah. I just think you should see it, and then you'd know what I'm talking about. I still like Claire Danes as Beth Moore. I think both Marmies did a really good job. I love both Marmies a lot, but I really like the pacing. I like the pacing of the 2018 one. I feel like the Winona Ryder one, it just goes from the past onward, like it does the whole thing, you know, like that, instead of like going back and forth. And I don't know, I feel like it shows the history while the present is happening, so you get more of like why she feels this way over here because this happened over here back then, and then like the dynamic between these two are this way because this happened over here. It's not as like, I guess it feels slower in the older one. I'm talking a lot about this. I feel this is a very hard thing for me because I've talked about this with like all my sisters. I have 4 sisters, and we've talked about this in depth for a while, and like I was very in denial. I was very like, nostalgia always wins. Winona Ryder's the bomb, so that one obviously. And Christian Bale, I thought he was the hottest thing when I was a kid, so that one. But then I rewatch it as an adult and I'm like, I don't like him. And it just, the pacing isn't my favorite compared to the new one. So, and the music, yeah, it was really good. And I know it was Greta Gerwig, and sometimes she misses, but sometimes she hits, man. She did a good job. It wasn't like overly feminist, blah, 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 blah. It was like, I think it really did all of our nostalgia proud. Personally, in my opinion. My mom really liked it too, so. I would actually be so curious if you watched it and what you thought about it. But anyway, we'll read that soon. I'm trying to see. No, the book. 320. Did you lie to me? I don't think my sisters have seen Little Women. That's tragic. Wait, so Wraith, if you know about Little Women, do you it has nothing to do with it, but do you know about Anne of Green Gables? Anne of Green Gables. You lied to me, Tyler. That junk is not short. It's gonna take forever. Okay, what about... That's not as bad. That's not as bad. That's fine. But anyways, yeah, Anne of Green Gables. That's, like, one of the first things I think of when I'm thinking of, like, nostalgic stuff. A lot of nostalgic stuff for me, but, like, and, what did I just think of? Oh, Anne of Green Gables makes me think of Little House on the Prairie, but for literally no reason. Well, except for like their outfits. That's pretty much the only reason. It's nothing like it. It's so good. Anyway, yeah. Heard of it. Alright, well, I'm outie too, but, I think I'll be on tomorrow. Yeah, I want to do a painting stream tomorrow, so. I hope I can hang out with you guys tomorrow. We have to... Sister, if you're watching this, look away. I started my sister's birthday painting present, and I need to finish it. So this is the so far. It's a puzzle, and it's a magnet. It's a magnet puzzle, so she can put it on her fridge. And I wanted to do something different from the dots, so this is what we got so far. I like it. I think I might put like a message on top, but I might not. I don't know yet. So yeah. So painting stream tomorrow, and thanks for hanging out, you guys. Love. Yeah, Little House on the Prairie was a big one. I watched that a lot. It had some freaky episodes though in there, but it was good. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Anybody that is new here, thank you, and I hope I see you again. And if you want to hang out with us outside of YouTube, we do have a Discord server, and we do some stuff on there together. So come join us if you want. But thanks for hanging out. I love you guys. And stay safe and all that jazz and stuff. Yeah. Bye.